This week on Hindsight, we are at the AU headquarters in Addis Ababa, where the AU is holding its 29th ordinary session of its General Assembly. The theme for this year's summit is harnessing the demographic dividends through investment in youth. I am Shegun Ojumu. Welcome to Hindsight. Shegun Ojumu. On this program, we'll be bringing you news, views, and exclusive interviews with
security that cut across humanitarian aid to.
It becomes easier to do business in Nigeria. Now,
Nigeria.
The AU summit has afforded African leaders to come together under one roof to take decisions which are vital to the development of the continent. Also, it was an opportunity to share ideas and seek reassurance that decisions taken earlier will be followed through. African heads of state and government had quite a few issues to discuss: peace and security, AU reforms, and that includes funding. Other issues were piracy, cybercrime, and not least how to tap into the benefits of having the largest youth population in the world. With that in mind, Nigeria's acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who attended the summit, says Nigeria is leading the way in addressing youth unemployment.
Well, I think what is important is basically to find out what others are doing, especially about the youth bulge, the dividend that we can, derive from the youth bulge. We're doing quite a bit, and we think that there is a lot that we can give in terms of our experience. We hired about 200,000 young graduates. We did, as you know, it's called Empower, an online portal, and we're also training online. I think it's probably the largest number of people being trained, the largest number of teachers, farm workers, public health officials being trained, at once. So for us, I think, this is innovative. I think it's groundbreaking, and sharing it with the other member nations, I'm sure that it will be an eye-opener for many.
Now, inter-Africa trade is very low. Here at the summit, the African Union announced an ambitious plan to double the current volume to 28% by 2021. It hopes to achieve this through its flagship Continental Free Trade Area. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, who was at the summit, says the CFTA is key to Africa entering into the fourth industrial revolution.
Continental Free Trade Area is something that we hope to have by the end of this year. Also, the financing of the organization. There's a new financing model, which is also extremely important.
And now to peace and security. Quite a few countries on the continent have been ravaged by decades-old wars. Now we have countries like DR Congo, South Sudan, and Somalia. And these are just some examples. Others like Nigeria, Cameroon, Chad have borne the brunt of Boko Haram's insurgency. Foreign partners have given their support to Nigeria and its regional neighbors who are on the front lines of the insurgency. However, the chairperson of the AU Commission, Musa Faki Muhammad, says Africa must address by itself its peace and security needs. He is also calling on African leaders to ensure the implementation of AU's resolutions.
The scourges of wars and terrorism, Somalia, South Sudan, the Sahel, the Lake Chad Basin. I would like immediately after the summit to continue this action where weapons continue to do the talking, especially in Central Africa. In all these regions, I have come to a double conclusion. The first one concerns the urgent need for Africa to take charge of its own need for peace and security. The new forms of violence have shown the vanity of traditional modes of promoting peace. A new approach is therefore necessary. The second teaches us that no violent crisis in Africa will be resolved by arms. Dialogue, reconciliation, and the search for consensual solutions is the only path to peace. All our own efforts and those with our partners, which we have sensitized to this end, have been and will remain resolutely directed to the implementation of these two conclusions outlined in brief here. We have continued to project the image on many occasions of presenting ourselves in dispersed ranks. Some partners continue to encourage this situation by dealing with Africa in complete disregard of our choice to speak henceforth with one voice. We must stop endorsing this practice. If we do not do it ourselves by abstaining from any conduct that is detrimental to our freely chosen options, how can we reproach to them their behavior towards us?
And that was Musa Muhammad, chairperson of the AU Commission. Let's move on now, because summits such as this AU summit afford ministers, presidents, and prime ministers the opportunity of holding bilateral meetings. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs held one of such meetings with his Ethiopian counterpart. Both men discussed political, economic, defense, consular, and multilateral cooperations. Here's more on what both men had to say.
We both agreed that we can take it to a higher level. Of course, Ethiopia has some important investments in Nigeria. Ethiopian Airlines is one of our big carriers. Dangote has a big business here. And so we're looking at how to also improve the relationship, and government-to-government cooperation by National Commission. The last one was held here many years ago, and we want to hold one again in Nigeria. And then we sort of ironed out some areas, gray areas, where there might be issues. But we're extremely happy with the relationship we have with Ethiopia, and this was really to reinforce that cooperation and to plan for increased future cooperation. It's a global crisis, really, so the issue of foreign exchange often comes in, and one of the big challenges in a lot of countries is the ability to repatriate, in foreign exchange currencies out of the country. In Nigeria, we have this challenge also with foreign exchange, and of course, the Ethiopian Airlines is having some issues with that, and so we took on board some of their concerns on that. And then also with the business interests that we have here, Nigerian business interests, also looking at the ability to, repatriate the foreign exchange earnings that they have in this country. So, but it's been done in an excellent spirit, and the two sides are working hard to, as I said, iron out these gray areas.
Excellent relationship. Nigeria is a very important country. We have a bilateral joint ministerial commission in economic sector, in political sector. We are working very closely. As the minister said, we are also agreed upon to boost the investment which comes from Nigeria. For example, Aliko Dangote have a big investment here. So, and also we want more Nigerians to come here and to invest. The other issue is the Ethiopian Airlines. Ethiopian Airlines is more Nigerians than Ethiopians, so because so many Nigerians use it, Nigerian African Airlines. So we agreed with the minister some of minor issues, not grace, minor issues that should be solved. So we are very confident. Already they started to solve the issue. Already the minister has assisted us to solve the issue. So we hope that it's going to be solved in near future, and we'll continue to engage to our very strong bilateral relationship.
We'll take a quick break now, and then this special edition of Hindsight from Addis Ababa continues in a moment. Stay with us. On this program, we'll be bringing you news, views, and exclusive interviews with
security that cut across humanitarian aid to
it becomes easier to do business in Nigeria. Now,
Nigeria
welcome back to the program. Now, let's move on, because Nigeria is perhaps the biggest player in the organization that is the African Union. It is crucial to the success of the organization that perhaps explains why the AU gave it a mediation assignment. This came a day after Nigeria assumed leadership of the AU's Peace and Security Council for the month of July. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Anyama, brokered an agreement between Morocco and the Sahrawi Democratic Republic. There was disagreement over the wordings of a report detailing human rights abuses by Morocco in Sahrawi. Morocco lays claims to the territory. Sahrawi is demanding independence and has accused Morocco of human rights abuses. But here's Mr. Onyama speaking about the successful mediation.
Could not be agreement on the report of the Council on the question of an evaluation mission going to the Sahrawi Democratic Republic. And they could not be any agreement. Those countries that supported Morocco stuck to their guns and said they wanted to see the paragraph removed. Those countries that supported the Sahrawi Democratic Republic said no, that was the decision of the Committee of Permanent Representatives. But we were able to find an acceptable solution with a new text. So, of course, the Council of Ministers were very relieved, and everybody was very grateful to Nigeria that we found a solution to that problem.
Let's end the program today by doing an assessment of the AU summit. What is Nigeria's assessment of the summit, and what is it taking away?
I would say the invitation to our President Muhammadu Buhari, to be the champion for the theme of next year, 2018 theme, on the fight against corruption, a sustainable path to African transformation. I think that is a very significant development, because it's a recognition of the negative role that corruption and bad governance has played in the development of Africa. And I think it's also significant that President Muhammadu Buhari should have been asked unanimously to champion this, because it's a recognition of his life's work and devotion to not just a cause, but a moral position. And I think it's also a statement of a recognition of the fight that his government has been waging against corruption, also at the global level. So it's an international issue, a global issue, it's a continental issue, and a national issue. So for me, it really is saying a lot about the president, saying a lot about Nigeria, and also saying that the African Union is getting ready to deal with that challenge.
And that's how much we have time for here in Addis Ababa. Let's keep the conversation going online, shall we? We're on Twitter. Tweet us and we'll tweet you right back. Our handle is at HindsightSTV, or you can email us on hindsightsilverbird@gmail.com. From Addis Ababa, Ethiopia's capital, I am Shegun Ojumu saying goodbye.